Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Betfred Football Show. We're mainly building up to that huge game at the Emirates on Sunday at 4:30. Arsenal versus Manchester United. I'm delighted to welcome the boss, Fred, and Lou Macari, steeped in Manchester United history. I was just thinking, gents, I think the last time us three did a show, I think he paid out early on Man City. Is he going to pay out early on Arsenal this year, do you think?
I don't think he will, but he might surprise me. He surprised me when he first done it.
What did you think in 1998 when you first heard? I mean, you knew Fred, obviously, because you bet with Fred. You heard Fred had paid it, Manchester United were 12 points clear. You heard that Fred had paid out early. What did you honestly think?
I thought he was nuts to start with. But then I thought, no, that's the bookmaker that when I first came to Manchester, I got to know Fred. And at the time, we're going back now to the 60s, Fred, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was the best bookmaker around, simply because you could get a bet on. There was no messing around with you. If you wanted a bet, you got it. That to this day, I'm saying it and he's sitting there, that to this day is still the case. If you want a bet with value attached to it, and a lot of punters don't realise what value and how important value is. You've got to get in value for money, and you can't get better value than somebody paying out before the result's in. So that's what he's done before. I don't think he's going to do it this time, though.
Well, how ironic would it be? So the first time you paid out early, and the first time bookmaker ever paid out early, in 1998, when Man United were 12 points clear, only for Arsenal to win the title by 1 point. Surely you can't pay out an Arsenal.
You know, everybody assumes or thinks that I paid out for publicity. It was never about that. I'd gone home, it was an afternoon, a 12:30 kick-off against Chelsea, and we beat them. And I thought, game over. So let's get it paid out now, because we're going to suffer it. I can enjoy my football better, and that's how it started. And from that day, and not only did I pay out on United, Arsenal was 7-1 to win the Premiership. I pushed them out to 9-1. I said, come on, Wenger, get your dough where your mouth is. And I did me money. And let me tell you this. We go back to the 60s, Lou and I, and he says I was a good bookmaker. He was a very, very shrewd punter. He might have done his money some days, but he never give anything away. He always loved the value, and he's still that way.
That's because if Fred had something in his shop at 8-1 and somebody else has got it at 10-1, you walk out the shop, Fred, and you go and get it, don't you?
Yeah.
But a lot of people, Mark, don't walk out of a shop and walk down the road 500 yards to get 2 extra points from Betfred. And there's always something. Every day I'm looking for him making a mistake, but the older he's getting, the less mistakes he's making.
Right, well, where's the value in the title race? Arsenal 10-11, and I think this is the first time Arsenal have been favourites since 2005. Arsenal 10-11, Man City 11-10, big win for Man City last night. Man United 16-1, Newcastle 40s, Liverpool 250-1. We'll talk about Liverpool later. Who do you think is going to win the title?
12 months ago, Mark, this fixture would have meant nothing. Arsenal were struggling. They're an awful team. For anybody to put it right, like they have done, is close to a miracle. That manager's gone in there, he's turned things around, he's got rid of 1 or 2 people probably in the dressing room who shouldn't have been in that Arsenal dressing room, and we were going nowhere. We were heading nowhere, and it's probably the worst run of results we've had at Manchester United. Now the new manager's come in, he's galvanised them, 1 or 2 things have happened, and now this fixture is of the importance we all know it is. Yeah. Arsenal win.
It was massive, wasn't it? I mean, Arsenal
Massive.
won the title at Old Trafford before.
Yeah.
There's the bust up in the tunnel with Kina Vieira.
Yeah.
The pea soup and the pizzas flying after the game at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
This used to be a proper fixture, didn't it?
It did, and since those days, though, it's sort of calmed down a little bit, but I don't really expect it to calm down on Sunday. Right. It's a must-win game for us after Palace the other night, where we came a crop on the last couple of minutes. But we must win this game if we're to stay in some sort of contention, Fred. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So do you think Manchester United are in the title race?
At this moment in time, they still are. They're clinging on. Before Crystal Palace, I thought they were well in the title race because the results leading up to it were good and you couldn't see them dropping any points. But unfortunately, I won the free kick.
Because that would have been just six points behind Arsenal, wouldn't it? playing them.
Can't afford to lose on Sunday. You know, if the manager's if we're behind and the manager throws on 3 forwards, I can understand why.
But as a bookmaker, Fred, you've got Arsenal at 10-11, Man City 11-10, Man United 16-1. As a bookmaker, you don't think Man United are in the title race, do you?
No, I do think they're in the race.
I suppose 16-1 chances win every day, don't they?
City and Arsenal have got to play one another twice.
Yeah.
United, as Lou said, it's dependent on what happens on Sunday. If we beat them on Sunday, it's wide open again. What I would say is this: Arteta has done one fantastic job there. He's built a team there, and they've been the most consistent team this year. Much more so than City. City's in and out. I mean, they've put on fabulous displays, but they're in and out time. Look what happened last night. They were getting beat 2-0 at half time. That shouldn't be happening at the Etihad
They got
Stadium.
booed off at half time.
Yeah.
That's not happened for years at
you
Man
know,
City, has it?
This is one funny season. Look what's happened to Liverpool. We were 5-2 at the beginning of the season with Liverpool. I pushed them out to 7-2 to get my holiday money in, which happened. I've got it.
For 250 to 1 now.
Where they are now.
You might as well make them 2,500 to 1, might you?
But you know, Souness said at the beginning, he said they've not got the legs in midfield, and I think that's right. It's a rebuild job, as we were 5 years ago, and we were stinking over the last 5 years. We were useless.
Yeah. Let's talk Liverpool later. Obviously, huge game. Chelsea 12:30 Saturday. Right, Lou. You work still in and around the club. You know a lot of people. Did the culture need a reset, and is that what Ten Hag has done?
I think it's difficult to put your finger on what he has done, Mark, except things for the better than they were obviously before. But things were that bad with the last manager. Whoever came in, I think, was coming in at the right time. You could have put Fred, the manager of Manchester United. Don't laugh. No, but you could have, and things would have got better. Now, whether they've got better enough for them to be challenging, I think we'll be able to say that more after Sunday. If they pick up 3 points, it'd be a fool to dismiss them because they've been that far behind. When they were far behind, you said, no, they can't make up that ground. If they weren't playing Arsenal on Sunday in the way Arsenal have been playing, you'd say, yeah, they can go there and win, no problem. But this is a different Arsenal. This is an Arsenal with a bit of something about them now, which I wasn't sure, Mark, that the manager or any manager could put it into Arsenal footballers. But he's managed to do it. He's managed to get them tough, up and at them.
And Ten Hag's definitely put something into Manchester United. I mean, that would have been 10 wins on the bounce if it had beat Palace. But I'm just thinking, previous seasons have gone on mini runs and then have lost the next game and stuff like that. There's a bit of consistency now. Is it like the discipline? I mean, look, recently with Rashford. Rashford's flying, late for the team meeting on the bench.
Yeah, that wasn't much of a punishment, though, was it, Mark? You've done something wrong, but you're on the bench.
No, but at least it was.
At least it's
all
something.
sorts of rumours were coming out of Old Trafford.
Yeah, I don't think you should listen to all the rumours that come out of Old Trafford, though, because there's 10 a day, isn't there? I get calls from people saying, have you heard about this? And I'll say, look, that's not true, that's not true. But no, there's been a change for the better. And I wasn't sure that any manager could come in when Ten Hag come in and do that, but he's managed to do it. You're halfway there to the consistency that Fred will tell you any team needs, and the team at Manchester United's never really had it. And he's managed whatever he's done, Mark. You'll need to bring him in here and ask him. He'll tell you. Yeah. But from outside looking in, there is more discipline, there is more determination, there is more focus on picking up those 3 points, which is really all that playing for Manchester United should be about. But there's been distractions, hasn't there? There's been plenty of distractions for him along the way as well.
You know, before the season started, Alex Ferguson said to me, the players like this man. They like Ten Hag. I think getting rid of Ronaldo and the way he got rid of him was good, because Ronaldo, in my book, was one of the greatest players in the world, but at 37, he's not one of the greatest players in the world. And he still believes he is.
Well, once he did that interview, he was off, wasn't he?
Yeah, but they needed to move him on. He wasn't playing well before the interview. He's gone. Rashford, I agree with Lou. It was a punishment, but not much of a punishment. And it's setting the rules there. If you're late, you're not on the team. So he didn't need to make a decision. Rashford knew. And one of the things I don't get is how Rashford could be late for a training session with the money that they're on.
You can't afford an alarm clock.
And they're not there at 6 o'clock in the morning, are they? It's a good job they're not working for me. And some of the players that he got rid of pre-season, That wanted to clear out. They got rid of that, and Ranić was a complete disaster for us. You don't have to be good if you're following a bad act. I think this fella is good. I think he'll do a good job for us, and we've got some good managers in this division. You know, Arteta, I think he's done a wonderful job there. I love Pep. Pep brought a style of football that we've not been used to. There's no booting out from the goalkeeper. It don't happen there. They play it out. I get frightened to death when I see our keeper and the fullbacks are passing it to one another. But it works.
No, look, it's filtered down. My lads under 8s team are playing it out from the back. It's frightening. Pep's changed football.
Yeah.
Right, then. What about the signings? Martinez, very good signing as well.
Yeah. And remember, Martinez, everybody was saying when he was signed, 5'8", too small. He was too small.
He still is.
5'5.5".
Yeah, but you know, Martinez, too small. Casemiro is too old. Why are you paying 60 million for him?
How big a blow is no Casemiro on Sunday for Manchester United? Because he's probably been that sort of midfielder that Manchester United have been looking at, not just for the last couple of seasons, for years.
It's another test for the team, Mark. If I was in that team, I'd be getting annoyed at the publicity that's all about Casemiro. So Sunday comes, I'd be determined to get my team, hopefully a victory, to be part of it and to prove to the manager.
Well,
lots of other good players in this
Casemiro
team.
only came on with about 10 minutes to go in the 3-1 win at Old Trafford. He didn't start in that game against Old Trafford, which was Arsenal's only defeat this season.
Yeah, I don't for 1 minute think that one player is a difference between Manchester United winning or losing on Sunday, whoever that player may be. It's about a team. If you've got a team in here with Betfred, Fred, you're going to be successful, aren't you?
Yeah, you need the right people. But my belief, Lou, is that we've got a right team now. We have. I mean, there's weaknesses in there, but not a lot.
Would you like another strike? I mean, Rashford's got 16 goals, but he's been playing left or right. Would you like another striker?
Well, I think we need to sign one. I'm not sure.
I mean, Weghorst has signed, hasn't he?
I don't know anything about this guy, and his record at Burnley wasn't anything special. They put him on loan, so he couldn't
scored at World Cup.
Yeah, I know, but anybody can score, can't you? But, you know, 2 goals don't make you a great player. That's the way I look at it.
Rashford has done remarkable compared to the way he was playing.
Brilliant to watch.
The run that he's gone on, he's got a lot of pace in his game now as well, which I'd never seen it before. I'd never seen him run the length of the pitch and outstrip people in terms of running, but he's managed to do it. But that won't go on and on and on, Mark. Everybody hits a spell where you can't score. And there's no need to have a big inquest like we do nowadays. It just happened. It's happened in football throughout the years. When I first came to Manchester United, believe it or not, I played 1 week with George Best in the team, and George was pretty poor. That's George Best, the best player I've ever seen. But even he had a couple of off days. So when Rashford has an off day, I know people will start to sort of dissect it and say, right, what's the reason for that? Is it the system? Is it the formation? No, it's just because every footballer, no matter what level you play at, has an off period. You have a few bad days at work and it doesn't come off for you. There's no need for a big inquest, but they do need cover for if and when that day comes for Marcus Rashford.
Right, a couple of stats. Arsenal have won 5 of the last 7 home league matches against Manchester United. Arsenal have scored in 17 of our last 18 Premier League games this season. The only exception was at 0-0 against Newcastle. Last season it was 3-1 to Arsenal at the Emirates. It was 3-2 to Manchester United at Old Trafford. And the only defeat Arsenal have suffered this season was that 3-1 defeat at Old Trafford. Give us a score for 4:30 Sunday then, Lou.
I'm going for United to get in front, and this time, hold on, 1-0.
1-0 Manchester United, which is 12-1. I mean, they were a huge price against Man City, weren't they? 3-1 they were against Man City last Saturday.
We were saying it was too big a price at Old Trafford.
And we were after time.
And you know, we're the bookmaker at Old Trafford, and we got hammered. Because all the punters got on at 3-1. We got hammered.
Yeah, well, not many of the home fans are going to back Man City, are they? But yeah, it's always ends up a one-horse book. Come on, then, what score?
I'm going to go for United. I think we'll turn them over on Sunday. I think Arsenal have done a fantastic job this season. We're going to do City a favour and we're going to beat Arsenal 2-0.
2-0 Manchester United is a huge 20-1. So they're both going for Manchester United. No surprise there. Let's just talk about some other key games very quickly before we finish. 12:30. It's Liverpool versus Chelsea. Who'd have thought at the halfway stage of a season this would be 9th versus 10th?
Nobody would have predicted that, Mark. But what's happened to Liverpool, when you watch them play now, it's not just a bad week against somebody. The team seems to have fallen apart. I don't know why, but it seems to have fallen apart. Their game the other night against Wolves, I know people were up in the game and saying, oh, it's been a good game. It was terrible. Liverpool of old would have taken Wolves for 3 or 4 goals. So what's happened there at Anfield is probably just what's going to happen to a lot of teams in the coming years. You're going to lose your form. Then the recipe for that, to improve it, is to go and buy a load of players, which Chelsea have done. Fred, I don't get what that's all about.
No, neither do I.
I don't get
And
what
also
that's...
there's more coming in as well, though.
Well, I just don't get... What's it all about?
He won't solve it with money. Not the way they're doing it. And, you know, I'm not sure about Potter now. I'm not sure about him. You know, he's...
It's 1 win in 9, isn't it?
You know, you look at the way Brighton signed players, they did it a completely different way. They didn't go for the big names. They analysed it. They looked at them.
I don't think Potter knows
He
about
played
those
for
new
me at
signings.
Stoke, Fred.
Yeah.
And if you'd have said to me that Graham Potter one day will make a great manager, and he's done it, because what he did in Sweden and what he did when he went to Brighton, he's done it. He's achieved what I thought was impossible, and that's nothing against Graham, but he's proved me wrong, and he's done an unbelievable job. And is it the case of he's gone into another club now and he's not got his hands in everything like he probably had at Brighton? You'll know the Brighton owner.
Yeah, I know the Brighton.
Yeah,
one, I can't
Booth.
think.
Yeah. So
Tony Booth.
Yeah.
yeah, so he's gone in there. I take it the owner would have let him get on with things.
Tony Bloom, sorry.
Tony Bloom. So he's gone in at Chelsea. Is this Graham Potter signing all these players? I saw a comment last week, more or less saying, none of them are mine. I don't know what's happening. They're just arriving.
No.
So that to start with, Mark, is no good for any manager. The manager's got to be responsible for most things at a football club. Who comes in the door, who goes out the door.
Agreed.
He's responsible for the results. So Graham Potter, I'm hoping Graham survives. But what a change in Chelsea. They just look different, completely different. And
Give
so
us a
do
prediction
Liverpool.
then. Liverpool-Chelsea.
Oh, I'm 1-1 draw.
I'd go 1-0 for Chelsea.
Away win for Chelsea.
Away win, because I can't split them. I think they're 2 poor teams, so I'm going to go for the outsider.
Very quickly, the 5:30 kickoff tomorrow night live is Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. Word on Newcastle, the 4th.
Again, when you've got loads of money, you don't take anything really, Mark, as a success story. But I've got to take this as a success story. He's done brilliant. He's had the money. He hasn't spent as much as I thought he would spend. He's changed things around. He's brought in a lot of players. He seems to like 6-foot-plus players, so he's got plenty of them in the team. And at Old Trafford, when they came early and said they were brilliant, I thought they were brilliant there.
They were better than us.
They were better than us, Fred, much better. And for Liverpool, and for Newcastle and those long-suffering fans, and they are fans that have suffered longer than anybody.
And the good fans.
And the good fans, they deserve something. They deserve to win something this season. And I think it's possible they could win something.
Yeah, we've got semi-finals of the League Cup coming up this week, haven't
Yeah.
they? And they look good for a top 4. Right, Lou, I've got to ask you about West Ham Everton. As a former West Ham manager, look, I know it's only halfway and we get carried away, but this is a huge game, isn't it? West Ham Everton, 3 o'clock tomorrow. This is, 18th versus 19th. Now, it is tight at the bottom, so anyone just goes on a mini run of 2 or 3 games, gets themselves out of the bottom 3, like Forest have done. But this is a huge game, isn't it? West Ham versus Everton.
There is plenty of time, Mark, to get out of trouble, but if you're in that position that David Moyes is in, you want to get out of it quickly, as soon as possible. He's gone there. I was made up for him because Moyes is a good lad. He's a nice guy. And when you see nice guys doing well, it pleases you. But I don't know why the wheels have come off. It's just not happening for them. But it's a must-win game. Well, it's a must-win game for both the managers.
I spoke to Everton supporters last night and they said, we're down, we're going down. And I think West Ham should just nudge it.
What score?
1-0.
I'm going 1-0 as well.
Right, let's finish then with the title race. We've spoken about this huge game at 4:30 on Sunday. City play on Sunday as well at 2 o'clock. Man City are in action at home to Wolves. The other game is Leeds-Brentford at 2 o'clock on Sunday. So, you're both predicting that Manchester United are going to win at the Emirates. But who is going to win the title at the end of the season?
I think if you're making me
I
pick,
am.
it's going to be City. I'd still put my money on
Because
City.
obviously City and Arsenal have got to meet twice and in the FA Cup, but they've got to play each other twice in the Premier League.
Yeah,
so you still fancy City?
Just.
I think it all depends on Sunday's game.
If you think so, you think if Manchester United win on Sunday, they're banging that title race.
Oh yeah, and I think City are banging there. Well, they are banging there as well. But Arsenal, it'd be interesting. If Arsenal did win the game, Fred, would you consider paying out on Arsenal?
Why do you put me on the spot like that?
Because no point in coming here and not putting you on the spot, is there?
Well, let me consider it. You Arsenal fans, you probably deserve it. Maybe. Come in next week and let's see.
He's paid out a couple of times on City before, and that hurt, didn't it, Fred?
Yeah, it does. I don't mind paying on United and them doing me money, but when I do it with other teams, that's when it gets hard. And last year, I paid out on City
At Christmas.
at Christmas, and 10 minutes before the season was finished, Liverpool were favourites to win the Premiership. You remember what happened in the last 10 minutes of it?
Right, I've really enjoyed this. Lou, just as a final question, I worked a lot in the past with you. These games were massive, weren't they? I mean, you think we've had incidents in the tunnel. There was the penalty miss, wasn't there? There was the Invincibles, and then getting that run ended at Old Trafford. This used to be two heavyweights going for blow, didn't it?
Yeah.
For years.
Different time in football, Punch. Different players. I think those players that used to get involved in all the carry-on between Arsenal and Manchester United, I think they've disappeared out of the game. But you never know. Be interesting what Sunday brings, 4:30 p.m. I'm hoping, obviously, United win. I don't care what happens after the game, as long as we've picked up 3 points.
Yeah,
It'd be great if pizzas had been thrown again in peace suit, wouldn't it? Fellas, really enjoyed your company. So the big game this weekend is at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. All Premier League games are double delight hat-trick Kevin, your first goal scorer bet. And no surprise, these two are both going for a Manchester United victory. And then Lou says they're in the title race.